All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today we're going on a journey. We're going to explore India's global diaspora and its impact, from 1947 to today.
Fascinating topic.
It is, right? We'll uncover how this diaspora became such a force,
Yeah.
a powerful force. And we'll look at the intricate ways, the ways it weaves into India's identity and its influence on the world. It's like secret code, To understanding India's place in the 21st century. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's a story that really starts long before 1947, if we really want to grasp the significance of India's diaspora today. We need to go back. We need to go back to the late 18th and early 19th centuries, a period when, well, this global movement began.
So we're talking about the era of colonialism. What's the connections?
Well, the British East India Company, right, with its huge trade network and later its political power, they played a big role, a pivotal role, actually. The indentured labor system that they implemented transported so many Indians to different parts of the world, to far-flung corners of the British Empire, mostly as laborers on plantations.
Wow, it's hard to imagine the scale of this movement. Are there any specific regions that were particularly affected?
Well, Bengal and Gujarat, for sure, they stand out as major sources of early migration. And actually, these regions, they still have strong diaspora communities. Around the world, it reflects those historical patterns. It's interesting, isn't it, this early migration? Driven by necessity, it laid the foundation for a much more diverse diaspora, a more complex diaspora, one that emerged after India's independence.
So 1947 was a real turning point. How did things change after independence?
Right. Well, labor, of course, remained a factor, but new motivations came up, like pursuing education, higher education, seeking opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities, and reuniting with families who had migrated earlier. This shift toward a more diverse range of skills and ambitions that really set the stage for the diaspora's impact in the decades that followed.
And we can't forget about the role of education.
Right.
During British rule,
Right.
It's almost like a paradox.
Yeah.
The system designed to assimilate Indians
Yeah.
into British culture. Well, it ended up equipping many of them with the tools to succeed on a global stage.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. This unintended consequence of British education policy, it played a huge role in the success of many Indians in various fields and contributed to a highly skilled and globally mobile diaspora.
Right. Okay, so now we have millions of Indians
Yep.
living all over the world, building their lives, making their mark. And then there's this idea of remittances, money sent back to India by these communities.
Yes, remittances have been so important. A financial lifeline for India, really. Often exceeding, they often surpass foreign aid in their impact. To give you an example, a concrete example, in 1978, remittances to India reached $2.5 billion, exceeding official development assistance by quite a bit. These funds, mostly channeled through informal networks, they played a critical role. They supported families, boosted economies, local economies, and they drove development initiatives across different sectors.
Wow, it's remarkable how this diaspora network goes way beyond just financial support we're talking about. This whole web, this intricate web of connections, social, cultural, and even political connections, tying India to the world.
Right, exactly. Think about all the organizations, professional organizations, religious groups, cultural exchange programs, these transnational networks you see. They've woven a rich tapestry, connecting India to the world. And let's not forget the historical significance of these networks.
You're talking about figures like Subhas Chandra Bose and the INA, the Indian National Army. I remember learning about them and their role in the fight for independence.
Precisely. The INA, it was formed during World War II. With support from the Indian diaspora, they sought to use international alliances, even controversial ones, to advance the cause of independence for India. This shows how diaspora sentiment could be mobilized into political action, and it impacted India's destiny. Even from afar, it really shows the power of these transnational networks to shape history.
It's amazing. It makes you wonder, how does this experience of being part of a diaspora, with its challenges and opportunities, how does it shape the idea, the very concept of Indian identity, both for those who migrate and those who stay in India?
That's a fascinating question, and it's one we'll explore further. It's a dynamic process of cultural exchange, a blend of traditions and new ideas that continues to shape Indian identity in the 21st century. It's like, this constant back and forth between holding onto your roots and embracing new influences. It's like navigating two worlds, feeling caught between tradition and modernity.
Yeah, that makes sense. That feeling of living between two worlds must resonate with a lot of people in the diaspora, don't you think? But I'm curious, though, does this experience Does it differ across generations or within different groups,
Yeah.
within the diaspora?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The diaspora, it isn't a single entity. You have people whose families migrated generations ago, and then those who are new arrivals. Some maintain very strong ties to India. They send remittances, invest in businesses there, participate in cultural and political life. Others, might feel more distant. Their connection is more symbolic than tangible.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It's interesting how individual stories and
Yeah.
family dynamics, they weave into this larger story.
And these stories, these individual stories, they often reflect the broader historical context. And think about, like, the descendants of indentured laborers. Their experience is completely different from someone who migrated for education or for opportunities in business in the post-independence era.
Right, yeah, it's like layers of history,
Yeah.
shaping identities within the diaspora. And this flow, this outward flow of people and ideas, it must have had a huge impact
Yeah.
on the places.
Yeah, without a doubt. Indian communities, they have enriched the cultural landscapes, the social landscapes, and even economic landscapes of countries around the world. Think about the restaurants, the Indian restaurants,
Mhm.
Bollywood movies,
Yeah.
yoga studios, all the businesses that have become a part of so many societies.
It speaks to, their adaptability, the resilience of those
Yeah.
who migrated, their ability to, well, not just survive, but thrive in new environments.
And let's not forget those transnational networks we talked about earlier.
Right.
They're not just about keeping ties to India. They also help connect different diaspora communities. It creates a global network
Yeah.
of shared experiences, shared aspirations.
It's like an intricate web
Yeah.
spanning continents,
Mm-hmm.
weaving together this unique
Yeah.
and powerful sense of identity, shared identity.
Exactly. And this identity, it's not just about celebrating heritage, cultural heritage. It's also about engaging with the challenges of
Mhm.
globalization and finding ways to make a positive impact on the world. We see members of the diaspora stepping up on issues like climate change, like social justice, and economic inequality. They use their global networks to create meaningful change.
That's great. It's inspiring
Yeah.
to see how they use their voices and their connections to make a difference.
It reminds us that the story of India's diaspora, it's one of adaptation and transformation, a story that's still evolving.
Speaking of evolution, how has technology shaped this diaspora experience, the contemporary diaspora experience? We touched on it briefly before, but I'd love to go a bit deeper.
Oh, that's a great point. The rise of the internet and social media. It has completely changed how diaspora communities connect with each other. And with India, it's made communication so much easier, fostered this sense of virtual belonging, and enabled cultural exchange on a scale we've never seen before.
And think about the digital learning revolution happening in India. It's creating so many opportunities for diaspora communities to contribute their skills, their expertise, bridging distances in a way that wasn't possible just a few decades ago.
Yeah, it's a powerful example of how technology can break down barriers and foster new ways to engage. But it also raises questions about access, about equity. The internet has created amazing opportunities, but the digital divide remains, both within India and among its diaspora.
That's a good point. Technology can be a double-edged sword.
Right.
It helps facilitate connections,
Oh.
but it can also make inequalities worse if access isn't evenly distributed.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to bridging the digital divide, this complex issue that needs solutions, multifaceted solutions. It involves government policies, private sector initiatives, and community engagement.
It makes you think about how these global connections, fostered by the diaspora, they can be used to empower people, to create a future, a more inclusive future for India.
Exactly. And that's where the power is, in this global network. Fostering dialogue, promoting collaboration, sharing resources. The diaspora can play a crucial role in closing those gaps, creating a more equitable digital world.
It reminds us that the story of India's diaspora is far from over. It's a story that keeps unfolding, full of challenges
Yeah.
and opportunities.
And as India continues to rise as a global power, its diaspora will play an even bigger role in shaping its future and its place in the world.
This has been an amazing journey tracing the footsteps of this diaspora and uncovering its impact.
There's just so much more to explore. So many stories, so many experiences that make up this vast and vibrant tapestry.
So for you, what does it all mean? What's your takeaway from this deep dive? For me, it's realizing that the Indian diaspora is not just a side story. It's like intertwined
Hmm.
with what it means to be Indian today in the 21st century.
I agree. Totally, to understand India, you have to understand the diaspora. It's how we conceive, the complicated history, the culture, and how India's identity is changing.
Yeah, and it shows us that India's story, it doesn't stop at the border. It's a global story. It's happening all over the world, affecting so many societies.
As you go about your day, think about those connections, the threads that connect us, across continents, across cultures. It's pretty amazing.
It is. This deep dive has been incredible. But like you said, it's just the beginning.
Yeah, just scratching the surface. The Indian diaspora, it's constantly moving, changing, reshaping India's story in the 21st century.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey, exploring India's global diaspora.
It's been great sharing these insights with you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those connections strong.